Hello friends, welcome to 20 Fingers 2 Brains. This is part 21 of online shopping cart project. So we are almost at the end of this project. In this part 21 we are going to discuss the code and design for tracking the order by the user and the admin. If you have not gone through all the parts, then there may be a confusion in understanding the entire flow of the project. So I would recommend that you please go through the previous parts for this entire project. So here we are on part 21. So let me run the website. In part 21, what we're going to do is we have a link at the footer of this website, which is track order status. When user clicks on track order status, there's a new page, track your order.aspx, and there's a text box to track the order. So when user clicks, for example, 4 and click on go, the user is displayed with the details he has provided and the products which are purchased by the user and the delivery status for that transaction number. When admin tries to check or update the same transaction number, or let me run it again. We have customer orders, and on customer orders we have ID 4, which is view details. The admin can also see the same type of view here. For example, customer details, product details, and delivery status. For delivery status, for admin only a text box is extra available. And when users enter some invalid transaction number, for example 34, there's a no result found panel available over here. So if we see the admin and the user both are nearly having a same type of view while tracking the order. So for this, what we have done is we have created a user control. So we can use that user control on both the modules, on the user module and also on the admin module. So when user tries to check the order status, user navigates to track your order.aspx, and when admin tries to check the order status, he navigates to order details.aspx. So let's first create a user control. To create a user control, I click on the project, click on add new item. Here we have web user control. We can name it as uz customer order.aspx. Click on add. When you click on add, an empty, completely empty user control will be here. So we have designed this entire user control. So let's first of all have a look at the design view. In the design view, first of all we have the script manager. After the script manager, we have an update panel. Everything here is inside an update panel, and after that we have a div which is carrying the transaction number followed by a horizontal line. Then we have another table TD which is carrying the radio button list, customer details, product details, and delivery status. After that we have panel 1 which is carrying customer details. Then we have panel 2 which is holding the order details. Then we have panel 3 which is carrying the delivery status. Then we have panel 4 which is carrying the no result found panel. So we have 4 panels here. So let us now switch to the source. Okay, so here we have a tabular structure and 4 panels. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. At the top of the page, of the top of the user control, we have defined a style, and that style is style order details, which is having some width and some border, which is 1 pixel rich red color. Then after the style, we have added a strip manager, and then we have added an update panel. The entire design is inside the update panel. Inside the content template of the update panel, we have added a div. So the div is carrying the LBL transaction number. Then we have a text box txt transaction number. Then we have a button btn go, which is having an on-click event. So for this design, we have this. This is the div, transaction number, text box, and button go. When a user clicks on button go, there is a on-click event btn go click. So this was the div. Then we have a table, which is align center, width 100%, some background color, and the cell spacing. It is having two table rows. The first TR contains the radio button list. Inside, it is surrounded by horizontal lines. Then we have a radio button list. This is RBL order details. Repeat direction is horizontal. Auto postbacks is true. It is having three values, 1, 2, and 3. The default selected is value 1 with customer details, product details, and the delivery status. It is also having an on selected index change event. To get this change event, add this radio button list from the toolbox, which is here, radio button list. Then right click, properties, name it as RBL order details. In the event section, we have this. When you double click it, and automatically RBL order details underscore selected index change event will get generated. Initially it will be empty. We'll discuss this entire part of code later on. Then in the second table row, we have 4 panels: ASP panel, panel 1, panel 2, panel 3, and panel 4. Inside each panel, we have a tabular structure. The first tabular structure is for the customer details. So here we have a table. The class of the table is style order details. Then we have a column span of 2, which is carrying the image, which is a part of images customer details. Then we have, let's go in the design view so that it becomes easy. We have a TD. Then we have a tabular structure, name, LBL customer name, email ID, LBL customer email ID, phone number, LBL. These are all labels. Total products, LBL total products. Then we have the address, txt customer address, then payment method, LBL payment method. So this is the entire design view. We have first the image, then we have the name, then we have the email ID table row, then we have phone number and LBL customer phone number, then we have total products, total price, we have the address, we have the payment method, and then we have few empty table rows. So this was about the first panel. Let's move to the second panel. Second panel first contains an image, which is a customer icon. Followed by that, we have a table row, and inside the table row we are adding a data list. This is a similar kind of data list which we have added on our default.aspx page. It is only to display the products which are purchased by the customer. So inside the data list we have a div, align equal to center. The repeat column for the data list we have added as 3. We have the table. Then inside this table we are adding a label to display the name of the product. We have the image, display the image URL. Then we have the price and the quantity which is purchased by the user. So bind the values from the data list. We are adding eval function name, image URL, price, and product quantity. Then this entire data list is added in the table data. So this was about the second panel. Let's move to the third panel. The third panel it also contains a table. The first table row contains an image which is delivery status. The second table row contains a grid view which will show the records. There are no columns, that means it is showing all the records which are we are getting from the data table. The third table row contains a text box txt status and also a button btn add. The button is having a btn underscore click event. Let's switch to the design view. Here we have it, a grid view and txt status and a button. When we click on add, there's a btn add underscore click event generated in the code behind. The last panel is very simple. It's an empty panel. Just it is having an image no results.jpg. We have added some height and align equal to center. So this was about the 4 panels and the design view of the user control. Now we have already designed this user control. Now the coding part, before discussing the coding part, let's add 2 more pages in order so that the user can track the order. We have added a page track your order.aspx. To add this page, right click, add new item, a web form, simple web form, track your order.aspx, click on add. This track your order will get added to the ad. For the admin, we have added a page order details.aspx. Similar way, right click, add new item, web form order details.aspx, click on add. This order details.aspx will get added over here. So we have added a user control and 2 pages where the same user control will be used. So first let's visit track your order.aspx. On this user control there is no here we have opened track your order.aspx. On this page there is nothing but a user control. So what we have done is, when we open this page in the design view, all this code will be automatically added when we add this page. What we have to do is, we have to take this user control and drag and drop it here. Not this way, sorry. You have to go in the design view, and in the design view you can place the cursor and drag and drop the user control over here. So what will happen, it will automatically add this code and give it some ID. So we have already added this, so it is giving UC customer order 2. So you can remove this. When we add this user control from the solution explorer, automatically this register tag will also be added over here. So we have this UC customer order as the tag name, UC1 as the tag prefix, UC1 UC customer order. The ID of this control is UC customer order 1, and we have run at server. In the similar fashion, when we go on order details.aspx, you can drag and drop the user control from UC order inside the div. So it will be displayed over here. The tag prefix will be added, and in addition to the user control, here we have a div which is carrying a button btn clear, and the text is clear and search other transaction, and we have an on btn clear underscore click event. We have given some height and font to it. So here we have it, clear and search other transaction. So we have this btn underscore click event in order details.aspx. So let me recap everything. First, we created a user control with the entire design. After that, we have added two pages, trackyourorder.aspx and order-details.aspx. Then we have added this user control. You see customer order to track your order and order details. To add this, simply open the page in the design mode and drag and drop it here. When we drag and drop, this code will be added and this tag prefix will also get added. Okay, so till here everything is fine. Now let's open the source code of this user control. In the source code, what we have is, you see customer order.ascx.cs file. So this is the source code of this user control. In the source code, we have defined a public boolean value, can I update status. This can I update status is only available. Can I update status is only available for the admin part, because this same user control is being used. So the delivery status can only be added by the admin of this website. So this flag is going to be useful there. After that, we have added a property public string transaction number text. So we have get and set. We are returning the txt transaction number dot text and we are setting value in txt transaction number dot text. This txt transaction number dot text is a part of user control. It's over here, txt transaction number. After that, we have this public bool is authorized to add status. This property we are only setting the value, and when we set the value, can I update status will be updated by whatever value is there. After that, we have a page load event. Inside the page load event, we are checking whether it's loading for the first time or not. Then we check if the transaction number is empty or not. If it is not empty, that means the user has entered some transaction number and we are supposed to show the details for the transaction number. So for that, we have created a show order details method. Here we are passing the what is the order details selected value, like what is the user expected to see. If the user wants to see, for example, for 4, here we have the users want to see the customer details or product details or delivery status. So we are passing the selected value and the transaction number. Both we are passing to show order details. Here we have the method show order details. Here we pass the selected value and the order number. This selected value of the radio button list we are passing as considering it as the panel ID, and the transaction number we are considering as the order number. Initially, we are setting the visibility of all the 4 panels as false and the visibility of radio button order list also as false. Then we check whether the order number entered by the user is valid or not. For that, we have created a method is order number valid, and we are passing the same order number which we have received in show order details to this method. So let's go in this method. Here we have a private boolean value, a boolean function. This function will return a boolean value. Boolean value means the order number is valid, and if it is not valid, it will return false. So here we have the order number. Then we check. Then we have created an object of shopping cart. To add this shopping cart, we have included shopping heart.business layer because the shopping cart belongs to the business layer, and to use the data tables in our project, we have used using system.data. So here we call the method get order list. So this will pass a flag. The flag is nothing but the order number, and it will call the method sp get order list. So let's open the stored procedure sp get order list. You can create this stored procedure using this syntax: create procedure name procedure name is sp order list. We have a flag as a parameter integer. Then we have begin and end. In between this begin and end, we have a try catch. Inside the try catch, we are checking whether the flag is not equal to 0. If it is not equal to 0, that means the user is requesting, the application is requesting an information for that particular customer ID. So it will get the customer ID. If it is equal to 0, that means it will get all the details of the customer for all the records in the customer details table. So this is pretty much simple, and when it will return the records in the form of a data table. Here, whatever record is returned from get order list is stored in dt customer orders, customer details. And if dt customer details dot rows dot count, if there are any records, that means the order number entered by the user is valid. Here we are simply checking it, get order list, and if it contains any row, then we are returning true. If it doesn't contain any row, we are returning it false. So here we have it is order number valid. Then if the order number is valid, it is returned by this method. If it is true, it will go in if part. If it is false, we are setting the visibility of panel 4 as visible equal to true. That means if the user enters 45, we simply shows the panel 4, no results found. Okay, let's assume that the order number is valid. If the order number is valid, we are initially setting the let me add a valid order number. We are setting the visibility of this customer details and product details, delivery status, radio button list as true. Then we check if the panel ID is 1. If the panel ID is 1, that means the user has selected customer details. If the panel ID is 2, the user has selected product detail. If the panel ID is 3, the user has selected delivery status. Here we have the panel ID as the value selected by the radio button list. So if the panel ID is 1, we are getting all the details from the get order list. We are passing the order number and getting all the details for that order list. So here we check whether the details are there or not. If they are there, we are setting the visibility of panel 1 as true, because initially all the panels are false. So in this case, only panel 1 is visible as true. And then we get all the information: customer name, customer phone number, customer details, total price, total products, payment method, and set all the values in the visible available labels and text box. So we are getting the values from customer details. Here we have all the values like customer name, customer email ID, phone number, address, products, total price, payment method, and everything. So if the panel ID is 2, that means we need to get the transaction details. Transaction details, that means product details. So get the transaction details, we simply call a method with the order number get transaction details. So get transaction details, we have a method sp get transaction details. So sp get transaction detail, let me open it. This is a simple stored procedure. To create it, create procedure name sp get transaction details. Then we have the transaction number. This transaction number is same as what we have passed in our C# code. Then we have a begin, end, and inside the begin and we have a try catch. Inside the try, we are writing a query. Select. We are having two tables here. One is products table, which we have named it as P. Another we have customer products, we have named it as CP. Then we have an inner join cp.product_id equal to p.product_id, where customer products.customer ID equal to the transaction number. Okay, so let me open both the tables here just for understanding. So these are the customer products. So these are the tables. In both this table we have the customer ID. The customer ID is nothing but the transaction number. For example, when we look for customer ID 4, we have two products, product ID 3 and product ID 5. So we have 3 and 5 and the quantity of those products. So this way, by joining both these two tables, we get the product name, product image URL, price, total product as product quantity, and this query will return all the values to this data table. And if we go in the C# code, we are simply binding all the get transaction details to the DL products. And as we have seen in our design mode, the DL products is having the eval function. We are making use of eval function and binding all the name, image URL, price, and the product quantity. So this is what it will look like: the product name, image URL, product price, and the quantity purchased for that product. The next panel is panel ID equal to 3. Here we are checking the value of the boolean. Can I update status? This is a boolean value set by the page, passed from the page onto the user control. We will debug this and check afterwards. So initially the panel is true, then the visibility of the text box and the button depends on this boolean value. If the boolean value is passed as true from the page, this both will be visible. And finally we have a method get order status. So get the order status, we are passing a flag. The flag is 0 and 1. So here we have the order status, order number, and the flag. And inside this method we have created k.getOrderStatus. This getOrderStatus will get the status of all the transactions, of all the status of that transaction number. So we are passing this 3 parameter: order number, order status, and flag. Then we have a stored procedure sp order status. It is simple. If the flag is 1, that means we are inserting a value. If the flag is 0, that means we are simply getting the value. That means we are simply reading the value from the database. The flag will be 1 when the admin is adding some value, and if the flag will be 0 when the admin is not updating any value. And for example, let me open the table. For this we have a table. We have created a table delivery status to store the message. So here we have ID, transaction number, status message, and data entry. That means at what time the status is updated. So we are simply pulling the values from this table. Let me do a select star. So if we see the values of this table, it is simply like for transaction number 1, there is some status message and it is updated on this date. For transaction number 2, there is some message and this is updated. So for one transaction then number, there can be multiple messages, because the status initially will be something, and after some time the status will be updated, and finally the courier will be delivered to the desired customer. So here we have a table to store the delivery status, and to update this table we have this stored procedure, create procedure sp order status. It will have the transaction number, for example, for which transaction we are trying to update or for which transaction we are trying to get the values. Then we have the order status. The order status is a text message like that like the courier is delivered or something like that. Then we have a flag. The flag is to decide whether we are inserting some value or we are simply getting the value, because here we have two cases. One is The admin can insert a value, and another, like the customer can only see the value, only see the status message, nothing else he can do. So here we are here, get order status, and finally when the user clicks on delivery status, it will be displayed here. So what we have done is, we have discussed if and also in the page load we have, if the transaction number is empty, then we are setting the visibility of all the panels, and the radio button list as false. So what we have discussed just now is show order details. In show order details, we have discussed for panel ID 1, for panel ID 2, for panel ID 3, and for panel ID 4 it will be false if the order number or the transaction number is not a valid. Then we have discussed the method for is order number valid. Then we have the set order status, get set order status. Then there's a button to add an order status. It is a part of this delivery status panel. When user clicks on button add, we are simply passing get order status as 1, because in this case also we are simply calling this method with flag is 1. If flag is 1, that means we are inserting the text status and the transaction number inside the database. And if you see the store procedure, first we are checking if the flag is 1, then we are inserting, and at the end we have a select query to get the transaction details. So if it is 0, it will not insert, it will only get. If it is 1, we are inserting, then we are getting the value. And when user clicks, and whatever values we are getting from get set order status, those values we are binding to the grid view. So the grid view order status will show whatever status we have the admin has added to the database. And after everything is done, we are setting the text status as empty. Then we have the selected index change. On selected index change, we are simply checking whether the transaction number is empty or not. If it is not empty, then we are again calling the same method show order details. So we have all discussed all the coding on this user control. Now let's move how this user control is behaving differently for the customer and how it is behaving differently for the admin. So let's move to track your order. On track your order, we have simply added this user control, and in the code behind, what we have done is, first we are checking the value from the query string. Whatever values we are getting from the query string, that we are checking. For example, let me close this website and run it again. When user clicks on track your order, first we check whether the query string ID is null or empty. For example, here we can have a query string ID equal to 3 and hit enter. So it will automatically get the value for that transaction number 3. If I enter ID equal to 4, then it will automatically get the transaction number 4 details. So if it is not there, such kind of ID is not a part of this track your order, then in that case first we are checking it is null, not is null. If it is not, then we are passing the transaction number equal to request.query string ID, whatever we have in that query string, and then the same transaction number we are passing into the text box. So here we have two kind of situation. If user enters the transaction number, then also we are getting the details, and if it is automatically added or added by the query string, then also we are getting the details of that transaction. So in this track your order, we only have a code to read the value from the query string, and from the query string we have added it to a transaction number string, and that transaction number string we have added to the public property of UC customer order 1. This, let me explain it again. Here we have a user control UC customer order, and inside this customer order in the code we have a public string. As this property is public, so it can be accessible on the on the page which is having the user control. So we have this, so it is public, so I can set a value and I can also get a value from this using this public property. So we have this UC customer order dot transaction number. Here I am setting the value, whatever value I am getting from the query string, I am setting that value inside this public property. So what I'm doing here is I'm passing the value from the ASPX page to the user control. Okay, and another condition I have added is I have to check whether the session shopping cart admin, this session will be active whenever the admin is logged in, and it will not be active if the admin is not logged in. If the admin is logged in, that means he is authorized to add the status. Okay, so if the user is authorized to add the status, at that time in the delivery status, here the admin will be able to see the text box to add the status. If he is not an admin, this flag will be set to true from the page which is calling. So here I'm calling it from the page track your order. So here this page is only accessible to the customer. So here there will be no session for the admin, and in this case the is authorized to add status will be false. So here when the customer is trying to see the delivery status, there is no text box available. Now let's move to the product order details. When admin tries to access the same thing, first admin checks whether the query string is there or not. Let us move to the admin part. When admin logs in, there's a session created for that admin. So here we have the customer orders, and let's click on this view details. So here we have admin / order details.aspx id equal to 6. So as you can see, for the admin this text box and btn add is available. So first we check the query string. Here we have the id from the query string. Here it is id equal to 6. That same id will be picked and using this request.query string and stored in transaction number, and we are passing the transaction number to the user control. Then we check whether the session is empty or not. If the session is not empty, that means he is authorized, the admin is authorized to add the status. So we are setting the flag as is authorized to add status equal to true. If the session is empty, that means the admin is not authorized to add the status, and we are redirecting the admin to press admin login so that the admin can log in and then he can add the status. On clear, we are simply clearing the query string and redirecting the admin to admin / order details.aspx. So when I click on clear, this value will get removed and he will be redirected to this page, simply removing the id from the query string. So clear is simply redirecting, so that the user can enter, the admin can enter the transaction number and see the details. For example 4, so clear will simply remove it. So we have this. So let's now debug. Let's put a breakpoint in the customer. Okay, so let's run it. first of all we will run for the user, and after that we will run for the admin. So here we have it, track your order.aspx. So see, first when user clicks on track your order, he is first redirected to the user UC customer order. So here we will check if it is a post. So we are loading it for the first time, and then the control goes to track your order. Here we check, do we have a query string? So we don't have a query string because we are simply opening track your order.aspx without any query string, and then it will go and check in the else part. Transaction number is not empty. It will set the visibility is authorized to add status. So it will set the visibility of all the 4 panels to false. Now we have this. Let's enter a valid for. We click on go. When I click on go, the control again goes on track your order. Here we check if there is no query string. The session is also empty. So is authorized to add status equal to false. So here I come. Can I update status? The value is set to false. So I cannot update the status because I am a customer and I can only see the order status. So is authorized, again the control comes here. Then we go on the page load method and the user has clicked on go button. So here we have the transaction number as 4. Then we are setting the visibility of order details as 4, and we are passing the panel number. Selected value is 1, so the panel visible will be 1. The transaction number is 4. So here we have show order details, setting the visibility of all 4 panels as false. Then we are checking whether the order number is valid or not. We are calling this method get order details, putting a breakpoint over here. So this dt will get some value if the order number is valid. We have the valued as we have some records in this table for order number 4, so it is valid. We will count the rows. If it is greater than 0, then that means it is valid. We are returning it. The value returned by this method is true, so we'll go inside. So after that we will set the visibility of order details radio button list as true because we have some valid order number. Then we will check the panel ID. The panel ID is nothing but the selected value, so it is 1. So we will get the details for that order number. So again we are getting the details of that order, and we are simply displaying all these details on the text box and labels. That means we are only displaying the customer details. Now let's go on the product detail. When we click on select index change, let me put a breakpoint over here. When I click on this product detail, the track your order will automatically get reloaded because we are using. So here we have the transaction number as 4. show order details. Again we are calling the show order details, but this time we are only calling it for getting the product details. If we click on delivery status, this time the panel ID is 3, so it will go in the third panel and it will get the status of that particular order. So for that add order, there is no status updated by the admin, so it is empty. So the data shown in the grid view will also be empty. So it's no records are displayed. Now let's log in from the admin module. When user clicks on customer order, when I click on view details, this time if you see, can I update, this time can I update status is set as true because the admin is logged in, and is authorized to add status is also true. So these two tabs are similar to what we have, which are visible to the customer. The only difference is in the delivery status. We have this boolean is authorized to add status, and we have used it for the panel 3. So when user clicks here, this time the panel ID is 3. So the visibility of text box and the button will be set to true. So as you can see, for order transaction number 1, we have already added some status, and let me add one more status like courier received by customer. When I click on add, that status is updated for transaction number 1, and when customer checks, let me now for transaction number 1, if you see the customer details, product details are same, only the delivery status is updated by the admin, and that delivery status is only visible. The user or customer cannot change or add something. Only the adding the delivery status is functionality is only available to the admin. So this way we have made use of a user control, and that same user control is getting used on both the modules. It's a common control, so there's a less code written for it. So this entire project comes to an end. We have learned a lot of things in this, like data list, grid view, and hope this entire project gives you a clear understanding of how to develop a basic website from scratch. And here we've also learned a two-tier architecture, because we have two layers. the data, which is, we have three layers actually. We have the UI layer, then we have the business layer, then we have the data layer. So whatever business rule and all those things we have written in business layer, we have data layer, and we have the presentation layer, which is the UI. So in this entire project we have learned a lot of things. Hope you have enjoyed it. And if you don't want to go through this entire source code, you can buy this entire project also. To buy this project, you can simply drop a message on our Facebook page and we'll reply to it. And if you have any query in understanding it, or if you have not understood or need more explanation, you can comment and we will reply to it. So thank you so much. Have a nice day and keep watching.